I'm Matt with Foxhound Automotive here in Dewey, Oklahoma, and today we're going to be discussing the Chevy Cruze, in particular the 1.4 liter turbocharged engine that resides in this vehicle. So let's get started. Okay, I've got a little cheat sheet here, and we're going to walk through all the problems that these things have. First and foremost, the PCV valve is built into this valve cover. They love to fail. The only way to replace this PCV valve is to replace the entire cover. Once this goes, it's going to let excessive pressure from the turbocharger into the manifold, and it'll usually blow out this orange tit down in here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Right there. If that's missing, that's a bad sign. So you want to make sure that that's there. But either way, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen to the car, it's a matter of when. So you really need to replace the valve cover and the intake with an aftermarket Dorman product. They've fixed the issues with that tip blowing out of there, and they fixed the issues with the PCV valve. Let's see. The turbocharger. There's a feed line that goes underneath this heat shield here, and it loves to leak too. So if you ever have an oil leak up here you can't find, it's either leaking from that crossover, that oil feed line, or there's also an oil cooler back behind the catalytic converter where they like to leak a lot as well. So those are two more problems. Another problem is these things get hot, and if water splashes up there, they can crack. The turbocharger housing can crack, and the exhaust manifold can crack. So be mindful of that. One test you can do when you go to buy one of these or look at it, if your heart's just absolutely set on it, something quick you can do is start the vehicle and pull the dipstick tube. Now, as soon as you pull this dipstick tube, it ought to start running rough. You should put your finger over this hole, and there should be suction. If there's no suction, chances are your PCV valve is shot, and 9 times out of 10 that tit's missing, and you're getting excessive crank pressure, which is not good. Another thing, these rubber hoses. Any rubber hose on this car that has coolant that goes through it will eventually turn into the consistency of a gummy worm. I don't know what kind of rubber they used. It was very subpar rubber. They all swell and end up failing, so it's a constant battle of replacing coolant lines, and as you can see there is a bunch. Another problem that they have is there's a water outlet here. It's not a thermostat, just a water outlet that feeds coolant to various parts of this engine. They're made out of plastic. They love to crack. The seals like to fail in them. They make a metal one, and I highly suggest, just even if it hasn't failed yet, go ahead and replace that with with a metal water outlet housing. So if you're ever going to buy one of these, check down here on the transmission and look for coolant. If you see puddles of coolant sitting down in here, you know this water outlet is bad and will have to be replaced. Let's see, did I miss anything? No, I don't think I did. That's pretty much all the problems with these things. They're really not well built. They cheaped out on a lot of things. These vacuum lines themselves can get hairline cracks in them, and it also make it run like absolute garbage. Everything's brittle. So yeah, avoid this engine at all costs if you can. They also put these in Chevy Sonics, Buick Encores, and Chevy Trax was using them as well. The newer ones, they have moved the turbocharger and stuff up and replaced this plastic valve cover with a metal one. And we'll see how that works in about 5 or 6 years, but I would steer very, very clear of these engines. They're just not good. So, like I said, avoid them at all costs if you can, and thanks for watching.